Hey guys, it's Melanie. Welcome back to another in-depth candle review. I hope you are having a good day. In this video, we are going to take a deep dive into Country Candle Merlot Vines, which is new for fall 2024 from Kringle Candle. In full disclosure, I did receive this candle in PR. I am a Kringle Candle ambassador. If you are interested in picking this fragrance up or any of the other fall fragrances or really anything else from the Kringle Candle website, you can use my discount code Melanie15 to save 15% off of your purchase. If you are familiar with how Kringle Candle does their new releases, typically with new seasonal releases, they don't go on sale for the first couple of months. So if you are interested in any of the fall fragrances, the discount code will certainly take a little bit off, or if you have some rewards points, you can also apply those as well. Anyway, you guys, let's go ahead and dive into this Merlot Vines. Now, admittedly with this one, when I first stuck my nose in it, I didn't hate it, but it also wasn't something that really necessarily spoke to me or captured my attention. It wasn't until I started burning it that I actually kind of started like falling in love with it a little bit. Normally grapes aren't the fruity fragrance that I tend to favor the most. Don't get me wrong, I love most fruity scents, but grape, for whatever reason, oftentimes comes off as quite medicinal smelling to my nose, or it has more of like that grape candy or grape Kool-Aid kind of vibe. And honestly, as much as I love candied fruit scents, for some reason, candied grape scents just are kind of gross to me. So I was happy to see that on Cold Sniff that this did not come across as a candied grape scent. It is a little bit more along the lines of a more authentic grape scent. But that being said, let's go ahead and discuss all of the fragrance notes here. I'll tell you exactly what I smell. We'll talk strength and throw, and then of course address the overall burn quality, because this is a candle that does have the new wicks. If you're not aware, Kringle used to have paraffin in these country candle jars. They switched that a couple of years ago to their soy formulation. But with that switch came a little bit of a problem in terms of finding the right wicks to match the formulas. So they've been trying to sort that out, and they made a switch with the summer limited edition collection. And with that switch, I think they mostly have it figured out. I've had a really good experience so far with all of the wicks on both my summer limited edition candles as well as these new fall candles. So my fingers are crossed that they mostly have this issue sorted at this point. So if that is something that was of concern to you, I can tell you that I think we're heading in the right direction. But let's discuss that once we get a little bit closer. Okay, first of all, this is actually currently sold out in the large jar. It is available in the medium as well as the wax melts. I wanted to let you guys know that they do have an issue with their daylight machine, the actual machine at the factory that pours the daylights for the different collections. I do know that Kringle does have the parts that are needed to fix the machine on order. They're coming from Europe. So I think they're just waiting on that. Once that machine gets fixed, you will see more of these daylights. So if you're wanting to pick this up in a smaller format first and you don't want the wax melts, hopefully the daylights will be available in the next month or so, but I cannot give you an actual timeline because Kringle was not able to give me one. So you can certainly sign up for their emails, but I will tell you, I think Kringle needs a better system for this, because oftentimes you are not notified when things are restocked. So it's just a matter of maybe checking back in. I'll try to remember to let you guys know when the daylights do come back in stock in my weekly home fragrance roundup. So, all right, let's go ahead and get into the scent notes here. Okay. So the scent description reads, soft white oak wrapped in glittering tones of red grapes and rich Merlot berries, accented with delicate touches of red rose. The top notes here are currant and grape. The mid notes are rose and berry, and the base is wood and musk. All right, so what do I smell? First of all, I don't pick up currant at all. I don't smell red currant. I don't smell black currant. There's just no currant notes in this one to my nose. There is obviously a very distinct grape note. It honestly reminds me of the smell of Pinot Noir grapes. I live in Oregon and we have a pretty active wine country region in our area here. The Willamette Valley is really great for especially Pinot Noir. So there's a lot of vineyards around this area, and back when I used to work in the wedding industry, I did a lot of weddings out in wine country. So I'm very familiar with the different grapes, and this one definitely gives me those Pinot grape vibes for sure. The rose, there is a touch of rose in here. It's kind of a powdery rose note. I feel like the rose here is maybe mixing with that musk note, and it really does kind of have it lean a little bit more powdery. I'm smelling the lid, by the way, as I'm describing this. I did just light this prior to filming the video, so it's not even completely pulled out yet, but yeah, this is a definite. There is a sweet, musky, powdery rose note. It's actually really quite lovely with the grape. At first, when I saw the descriptions prior to receiving the candles, I was kind of wondering how grape would work with rose, but it's actually working quite well here. It's a very interesting duo. Berry, I don't get much in the way of berry notes. I think maybe there is like a touch of like a blackberry in here, but I definitely don't pick up strawberry or blueberry. If anything, you know, a blackberry, I could see that, but it's not an overly berry heavy fragrance. The oak note is actually really quite nice in here. There is a little bit of a woodiness, but I don't feel like the woodiness takes over. This is predominantly a grape fragrance with a lovely hint of a musky, powdery rose and a touch of that sweet kind of berry note. This is a sweeter fragrance, not cloying. Doesn't necessarily smell like you are, you know, sticking your nose into a bottle of wine or anything. There's nothing boozy about this. I know the fact that it's, you know, shows a grape on, you know, the vine still, that it might imply that this is kind of like a boozy type. It's not. There's no wine note here at all. So that's nice for me because I typically don't enjoy that personally. But this is, I think this is a really nicely done blend. It's very interesting and it's something different in terms of the grape fragrances that I've smelled from Kringle in the past. Other grape fragrances that I would suggest checking out if you are a fan of this particular fruit, check out the California Cab. Also, what was the other grape? Of course, I'm having a brain fart. I'll go ahead and put it in an annotation. But there's another grape fragrance. Oh, Merlot. Duh, Merlot from the Reserve line as well. Both of those are lovely. If you're gonna ask me about the Harvest Vineyard, please don't. It's actually one of my least favorite Kringle candle fragrances. That one smelled like pure grape Kool-Aid to me, and I don't know. Like I said, I don't like that vibe when it comes to grape, so that one was a hard pass. But the other two that I mentioned, the Merlot, the California Cab, totally worth checking out. All right, so we've talked about the fragrance. Let's talk about strength and throw. Country Candle to me performs usually right around the same numbers with most of the fragrances. And this one falls right in line with the usual strength and throw. So I would put the strength of this between a 6.5 and a 7. I do think it performs better in a hurricane or a candle sleeve. If you want some more oomph out of this one, I would suggest popping it into a hurricane. I will say that the throw is right around the same as well. Again, you're going to get a little bit more out of it if you plop it into a sleeve or into a hurricane. But I think the strength and throw is more than adequate to fill, you know, at least half of the downstairs of my house. I do live in a somewhat open concept, early 2000s style of home. So the rooms kind of blend into each other. And this one does a good job of filling the vast majority of the rooms in the downstairs. The very best place that I found for this candle is probably in the entryway here. This really is my fragrance vortex. It is a 2-story entryway, but because I have a vent right off to the side here, I think it just does a really good job of like lifting the fragrance up and not only helping it to swirl around the downstairs, but it also ends up filling up most of the upstairs as well. So anyway, for me, the performance of this one is more than adequate, but I would say if you want to ramp it up a little bit, pop it into a hurricane, or better yet, melt some of the wax melts alongside. Like I said, those are available, so if you're interested, you can check those out. It is a great way to try the fragrance prior to committing to a large jar. Like I said, large jars are sold out anyway right now, but yeah, so good strength and throw, pretty solid performance there. In terms of the overall burn quality, let's go ahead and turn this so that you guys can see it. As you can see, pretty darn clean burn here. I'm not finding this one to be overly sooty or anything like that. The wax definitely sticks to the side of the jar just a little bit, but with subsequent burns, those little wax beads that you see do, you know, kind of run down again. I wish it was a little bit cleaner in terms of, you know, this top part of the jar. There is that residue that kind of sticks around, and I feel like you don't really see that as much with the classic Kringle jars. That being said, I'm very pleased with the performance of this. I really like the scent, and it's been burning well. No issues with the wicks. On this one, there's no major mushroom tops that form, but I do tend to just snip off the very top prior to each burn. That has been working quite well. No complaints. Like, it's doing well and I'm enjoying the fragrance. Will it be a frequent repurchase? Probably not, but I'm grateful to have received this one and to be able to share my thoughts with you guys. And I think those of you that are big fans of grape scents are really going to enjoy this one, and I think it's definitely worth checking out. Like I said, try one of the smaller formats first if you are at all nervous. But I think it's worth checking out. If you're okay with that musky rose note that's in there, then I think this is going to be something that will be an interesting addition to your fall burning routine. Anyway, you guys, thumbs up for me for this one. I think it's worth checking out. Like I said, let me know if you have any questions at all. I'll put the link to where to find this in the description box down below. And again, use code Melanie15. That'll save you 15% off your purchase, or apply some of your rewards and save a little bit of money that way. Let me know if you have picked this one up and what your thoughts are in the comments down below. I think it's good to have a variety of different takes on these fragrances. Every nose is going to smell the fragrances in a unique way. So the more reviews for these candles, I think the better. So feel free to share your thoughts in the comments down below. I appreciate you being here. There is one more candle review coming from Homeworks in a few hours, so make sure that you're subscribed, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Toodaloo.